Have you ever felt your heart sink after hearing harsh criticism? Maybe it was a colleague's sharp remark, a friend's unsolicited opinion, or even your own inner critic whispering doubts. It stings, doesn't it? Criticism can make us feel small, questioning our worth and abilities. But what if I told you that handling criticism doesn't have to shatter your confidence? What if, instead, you could turn it into a powerful tool for growth, self-mastery, and resilience? The Stoics believed that our strength lies not in avoiding critique, but in how we respond to it. In this video, we'll uncover 8 smart Stoic-inspired ways to handle criticism without losing your confidence. Whether you're dealing with harsh words or subtle jabs, these strategies will help you stay calm, centered, and unshaken. Stick around to the end, because one of these lessons could completely transform how you face critique and empower you to thrive in its wake. 1. Separate emotion from feedback. Criticism often stings not because of what is said, but how it is delivered. A sharp tone, an accusatory glance, or an ill-timed comment can easily trigger an emotional reaction. But reacting emotionally gives away your power and clouds your ability to see the value, or lack thereof, in the feedback itself. The Stoics teach us to separate what we can control, our reactions, from what we cannot, the words or intentions of others. When faced with criticism, take a deep breath and pause. Ask yourself, what am I feeling and why? Acknowledge your emotions without letting them dictate your response. By doing this, you create space to approach the situation with a clear mind. Focus on the content of the critique. Is it addressing a specific behavior, decision, or outcome? Or is it more about the other person's frustrations? By distinguishing between the two, you can respond constructively rather than defensively. If the feedback is unfair or irrelevant, let it go. If it holds value, consider how you can use it to grow. Remember, criticism is just someone's perspective, not an absolute truth. By separating emotion from feedback, you maintain your composure, preserve your confidence, and demonstrate emotional maturity. This ability to stay calm under pressure earns respect and gives you the clarity to decide your next steps. 2. Look for the kernel of truth. Criticism is rarely perfect, but that doesn't mean it's worthless. Even poorly worded or harsh feedback often contains a grain of truth, something you can learn from if you're willing to dig deeper. Instead of dismissing criticism entirely because of its delivery, take a moment to reflect on what's being said. Imagine you've been criticized for being disorganized during a project. While the tone may feel accusatory, consider if there's merit to the statement. Did you miss deadlines? Were you unclear in your communication? By isolating the constructive element, you can uncover areas for growth that might otherwise be overlooked. The Stoics believed in valuing truth above ego. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If anyone can refute me and show me I am making a mistake or looking at things from the wrong perspective, I will gladly change." This mindset transforms criticism into an opportunity for self-improvement. That said, not all criticism is valid. Learn to filter out the noise. If the feedback is vague, overly personal, or intended to belittle, recognize it as a reflection of the critic, not you. Still, ask yourself, is there even a small adjustment I could make to become better? Seeking the kernel of truth doesn't mean you agree with everything said. It means you prioritize growth over pride. This approach ensures that no critique, no matter how poorly delivered, is wasted. Instead, it becomes a stepping stone toward becoming your best self. 3. Respond, don't react. Criticism can ignite a spark of defensiveness, anger, or embarrassment, but reacting impulsively often does more harm than good. A sharp retort or emotional outburst can escalate tension and undermine your composure. Stoicism teaches us to pause and take control of our responses, rather than letting emotions dictate our actions. When faced with criticism, resist the urge to react immediately. Take a deep breath and allow yourself a moment to process what's been said. Ask yourself, is this feedback valuable? What can I learn from it? This pause not only helps you regain control over your emotions, but also shows others that you are thoughtful and composed under pressure. Responding thoughtfully doesn't mean you have to agree with the critique. It means addressing it in a way that reflects your maturity and confidence. For instance, if someone criticizes your approach to a task, you might say, "Thank you for sharing your perspective. Can you elaborate on how you think I could improve?" This shifts the focus from confrontation to collaboration, allowing for productive dialogue. Remember, a well-measured response not only protects your dignity, but also demonstrates that you are capable of handling feedback with grace. It's not about suppressing emotions, but about channeling them constructively. By responding rather than reacting, you retain control over the situation and your self-respect. 4. Consider the source. Not all criticism is created equal, and neither are all critics. Before taking feedback to heart, evaluate the source. Is this person knowledgeable, experienced, and offering constructive advice? Or are they speaking from a place of bias, insecurity, or misunderstanding? Recognizing the difference can save you from unnecessary self-doubt. A colleague with expertise in your field offering guidance is worth your attention. On the other hand, a stranger on social media or a competitive co-worker might have ulterior motives, such as projecting their insecurities or trying to undermine you. The Stoics remind us not to value all opinions equally, but to discern which ones are grounded in truth and which are not. When considering the source, ask yourself, what is this person's intention? Do they have my best interests in mind? Are they qualified to critique me in this area? If the answers are unclear or negative, it may be wise to take their feedback with a grain of salt. This doesn't mean dismissing every piece of unfavorable feedback. Even a biased critic can accidentally provide useful insights. However, by filtering feedback through the lens of credibility and intention, you protect yourself from unwarranted negativity while remaining open to genuine opportunities for growth. 5. Use criticism as a growth tool. Criticism, when viewed through the right lens, can be one of the most powerful tools for personal development. Instead of seeing it as a personal attack, approach feedback with curiosity and a willingness to learn. The Stoics teach us to focus on improvement rather than perfection, and criticism can highlight areas where growth is needed. Start by reframing how you perceive criticism. Instead of thinking, "They're pointing out my flaws," consider, "They're offering me a chance to get better," even if the delivery is harsh or the intent seems negative. Look for the lesson hidden within the words. What can you take from this to become more effective, skilled, or resilient? For example, if someone critiques your presentation style, don't dwell on their tone or phrasing. Instead, focus on actionable takeaways. Could I improve my clarity? Was I engaging enough? By treating criticism as data, you detach emotionally and make it easier to grow from the experience. Using criticism as a growth tool also requires follow-through. Once you identify areas for improvement, take proactive steps to address them. Seek resources, practice new skills or ask for constructive advice from trusted mentors. This approach not only refines your abilities, but also demonstrates a mindset of continuous learning, which earns respect from others. Growth often comes from discomfort, and criticism is no exception. Embracing it with humility and determination allows you to transform challenges into opportunities for excellence, making you stronger and more unstoppable. 6. Practice self-validation. External criticism can be hard to navigate if you rely on others for a sense of worth. Building your confidence from within through self-validation is key to maintaining stability, no matter what feedback comes your way. Stoicism teaches that true strength comes from within, not from the approval or disapproval of others. Self-validation begins with acknowledging your strengths and accomplishments. Keep a mental or written list of moments when you've succeeded, overcome challenges, or made a meaningful impact. These reminders act as anchors, reaffirming your value even when external feedback is negative or unwarranted. For instance, if someone criticizes your approach at work, instead of internalizing it as a failure, remind yourself of similar situations where you excelled. Affirm to yourself, "I am capable and adaptable, and I'm always learning." Self-validation also means setting realistic expectations. Understand that no one can please everyone, and mistakes are part of being human. Instead of seeking perfection, aim for progress and recognize your worth independent of others' opinions. This practice doesn't mean ignoring all feedback. Rather, it ensures that external criticism doesn't shake your foundation. When you validate yourself, you take control of your confidence, freeing yourself from the roller coaster of external praise or critique. This inner stability is what allows you to thrive and grow while maintaining a strong sense of self. 7. Set boundaries with toxic critics. Not all criticism is created equal. While constructive feedback helps you grow, toxic or malicious criticism can sap your energy and erode your confidence. The Stoics emphasize the importance of controlling your inner peace by learning to discern between valuable insights and harmful negativity. Setting boundaries with toxic critics starts with recognizing their patterns. These individuals often criticize to belittle, control, or project their insecurities onto you. Their feedback isn't aimed at improvement, but at undermining your confidence. When faced with such behavior, remind yourself of this Stoic principle. You cannot control others' actions, only your response. One effective boundary-setting strategy is to detach emotionally. Avoid engaging in arguments or trying to win their approval. Respond calmly and, if necessary, assertively end the conversation with a neutral but firm statement like, "Thank you for your perspective, but I prefer to focus on constructive feedback." Limit your exposure to such individuals, especially if their criticism becomes repetitive or unproductive. If avoiding them entirely isn't an option, learn to disengage mentally. Imagine their words bouncing off a shield of indifference. This mental imagery reinforces your emotional boundaries, ensuring their negativity doesn't affect your self-worth. By setting boundaries with toxic critics, you reclaim your energy and focus on feedback that truly matters. Protecting your mental space is an act of self-respect and a step toward maintaining unshakable confidence. 8. Shift the focus to gratitude. Gratitude is a surprisingly powerful tool when facing criticism. By thanking the critic for their input, whether their intentions are good or bad, you demonstrate emotional strength and confidence. Stoicism teaches us to remain composed and in control of our reactions, And gratitude is a strategic way to disarm negativity. When someone criticizes you, pause for a moment and express thanks. I appreciate your feedback. This response diffuses tension and prevents escalation. It also shifts the dynamic, showing that you're in control of the conversation. Gratitude doesn't mean you agree with their criticism. It simply reflects your ability to handle the situation gracefully. For example, imagine receiving harsh feedback on a project. Instead of becoming defensive, respond with, "Thank you for taking the time to share your perspective. I'll consider it." This response maintains your professionalism and leaves no room for further negativity. Gratitude also benefits your mindset. It reframes criticism as an opportunity to grow, even if the delivery isn't ideal. It shifts your focus from the critic's intent to your own ability to learn and improve. By choosing gratitude, you cultivate resilience and show others that their words can't shake your confidence. It's a subtle but powerful way to turn criticism into a moment of empowerment. If you've made it this far, comment "Strength in criticism," so I know you're committed to growth and self-mastery. Remember, criticism is not your enemy. It's an opportunity to sharpen your mind, strengthen your resolve, and reinforce your confidence. Whether the feedback is constructive or malicious, your reaction defines your path forward. Stay grounded, stay strong, and never forget, you have the power to turn every critique into fuel for your greatness. Thank you for watching, and if this resonated with you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and check out our next video for more Stoic strategies to elevate your life. You've got this.